This is what they were running out there.
Vice President Harris came and visited my restaurant.
It's been a few months since the DNC lost the election to Donald Trump, and Jon Stewart still isn't done criticizing them.
The big movers and shakers of the Democratic Party must know her well.
She worked at McDonald's, and she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, "How can I help you?"
Recently, he went scorched earth on the DNC, not just for picking the wrong candidate, but for the tone-deaf, arrogant way they tried to sell that disaster to the public. And it was absolute fire. If you're into unfiltered political takedowns, hit that subscribe button, because this one's just getting started.
Of course, an important part of tonight was familiarizing people with the Democratic nominee's biography, a hallowed walk through the trials and tribulations that formed the ethos and spirit of the Democratic nominee.
So Stewart's first point of attack was how the DNC tried to present Kamala Harris to the American people. Remember, she was the sitting vice president. She should have had a strong record to showcase. But instead, her so-called biography was laughably weak.
Up until tonight, they didn't have a lot. Thin on the anecdotes, quite frankly.
No major accomplishments. No standout leadership moments. Just a hollow resume wrapped in identity politics. And I can't help but keep asking, what exactly was she doing during her 4 years as vice president? She had the platform, the power, and the spotlight, yet left no real mark. So when it came time to package her and present her to voters, the party didn't know what to do.
This is what they were running out there.
Vice President Harris came and visited my restaurant.
No defining policy, no decisive action, no crisis handled with strength or clarity, just scripted speeches, awkward interviews, and a vanishing act whenever things got tough. It's almost as if the role was treated as symbolic, not substantial. And now they expect voters to pretend she's ready for the top job. Please. Stewart didn't hold back. He eviscerated the DNC for thinking they could repackage mediocrity as greatness and expect voters to just fall in line. It was brutal. It was honest. And frankly, it was long overdue. Check this out.
You know, I know you only had 4 weeks to put this movie together, but come on. You got to do better than... I was working and she walked in. I drove her in an Uber.
So now you see why Kamala and the DNC lost the election. They couldn't point to a single tangible achievement that justified giving her our vote. Not one. And when pressed, their excuse was almost laughable. They claimed they only had 4 weeks to pull it all together. But let's be real, 4 weeks is plenty of time to highlight real leadership, if there's actually something to show. The truth? They had 4 years, not 4 weeks. 4 years to build a legacy, to craft a message, to earn the trust of the American people. Instead, they coasted on vibes and empty slogans, hoping identity alone would carry the day. It didn't. Now you think party bigwigs?
The big movers and shakers of the Democratic Party must know her well.
She worked at McDonald's, and she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, "How can I help you?"
This is more than just disappointing. It's a perfect example of how far hypocrisy and performative politics can take you, straight off a cliff. The DNC wasn't under any real pressure to select a black female VP to complement a white male president. But in their scramble to appease the activist wing of the party, they didn't choose a proven leader. They chose a symbolic pick. Kamala Harris was relatively unknown, untested, and underwhelming. She didn't earn her way onto that ticket. She was handpicked for optics. No grassroots momentum, no standout track record, just identity politics on full display. And the result? A total disaster for the DNC. Jon Stewart didn't hold back.
You have to say that. When you work at McDonald's, or really any point of service occupation. How can I help you?
Stewart is absolutely torching the DNC here, and rightfully so. Because at the end of the day, that's what's expected of any vendor. Show up with a smile and ask what the customer wants. But instead, the DNC tried to force-feed voters a product no one was asking for. Kamala Harris' time as vice president was the political equivalent of clocking in at McDonald's and just following company policy. Nothing bold. Nothing innovative. Nothing that signaled real leadership. She didn't go above and beyond, didn't redefine the role, and left no lasting impression. Yet the DNC acted like just showing up for work was enough to earn the presidency. Sorry, but voters aren't that naive. If you
My phone rings. It's Kamala Harris. She called me.
My phone rang again, and it was Vice President Kamala Harris.
If you're lucky enough to be her friend, she calls you on her birthday.
Wait, hold up. She calls you on her birthday. To do what, exactly? Last I checked, it's tradition for us to call the birthday celebrant to wish them well, not the other way around. Why is Kamala Harris making calls on her own birthday like she's the one celebrating for you? It's bizarre, just plain weird. But honestly, it's not even surprising anymore. That right there sums up the Democratic Party in a nutshell, a party of awkward optics, upside-down traditions, and policies so disconnected from reality, they feel like a parody of politics. It's like they're constantly trying to reinvent the wheel, except their version doesn't even roll. From bizarre gestures to backward messaging, they've turned politics into a cringe-inducing performance art piece.
She calls you on her birthday? That is very
Personally, I think it was just a slip of the tongue. Maybe she misread the teleprompter or stumbled over her words. But then again, with these people, you never really know. They'll say anything if they think it'll win them a few extra votes. Truth, spin, or flat-out fiction. It's all fair game in their playbook. And sometimes, a line between a mistake and a calculated move gets so blurry, you can't tell whether it was an accident or part of the script all along. Either way,
yeah, let's go Democrats! You know, the dumber your hat, the more energy you always have.
Michael Costa takes a sharp jab at the DNC's chaotic and tone-deaf preparation for their convention last year, and honestly, he's spot on. It's fascinating, really. Instead of focusing their energy on crafting a compelling message or highlighting their candidate's strengths, they were busy making noise, shouting into the void with empty slogans and cringe-worthy theatrics. They treated the convention like a performance, not a political rally. No clear vision, no substance.
Whoever puts on a donkey hat and is like, you know what, let's stay in tonight. But of course Democrats are excited because this is a chance for them to lay out their specific vision each night, and let's hear what you got.
It's no wonder voters tune out. When style trumps strategy, you're bound to lose the plot and the election. Let's be honest. Half of their so-called strategy seemed more focused on TikTok trends and celebrity cameos and addressing real issues. That's not outreach. That's political cosplay. Anyway, let's take a look at what the DNC had lined up for their rally last year.
This morning, we are learning how each night of the convention will highlight her vision for the country. Tomorrow's opening night's theme, For the People. Tuesday will outline Democrats' bold vision for America's future. Wednesday, they're calling a fight for our freedoms.
Okay, this lineup looked mouth-watering on paper. It promised a powerful, electrifying convention where the DNC would unveil a bold strategic vision, one that could help them hold on to power and actually improve the lives of everyday Americans. Expectations were sky high. We anticipated compelling speeches, real solutions, and a clear path forward. But what did we get instead? A circus of virtue signaling, vague platitudes, and empty performances.
Policy move by the Democrats. Tuesday is for the future, and Thursday is also for the future. How do you have themes that are so vague and then still run of ideas by Thursday?
The DNC isn't just all performance with no concrete action. They're lazy, disorganized, and frankly careless. It's not just the lack of substance in their messaging. It's the small, glaring details that speak volumes, like forgetting to update official platforms by removing Joe Biden's name and replacing it with Kamala Harris. That's not a harmless oversight. That's political malpractice. It shows a complete lack of preparedness and attention to detail. If you can't even manage your own branding properly, how can anyone trust you to run a country?
Democrats also released a very detailed party platform, and you can tell how much time and energy they put into it because they forgot to replace Joe Biden's name with Kamala's. Yeah, and that's not just lazy, guys, it's risky.
Sadly, the mainstream media weren't just bystanders. They were active participants in the charade. Instead of doing their job and holding the DNC accountable, they joined the performance, parroting talking points and helping to sell a carefully crafted illusion. They didn't question the inconsistencies. They didn't challenge the empty rhetoric. Instead, they helped throw dust in the eyes of the American people. Journalism took a backseat to narrative management. Facts were filtered, criticism buried, and inconvenient truths swept under the rug. The media became an extension of the campaign, not a watchdog for the public. And in doing so,
rumors are swirling, big time. Everybody's talking about it, that two of the biggest names in music, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, might make appearances.
Holy shit, did you hear that? A completely unsubstantiated rumor about Taylor Swift and Beyonce.
they betrayed the very trust that makes their role in a democracy so vital. It wasn't just biased, it was complicit. In the end, the DNC's failure wasn't just about poor strategy. It was about arrogance, laziness, and prioritizing optics over outcomes. With a complicit media, a hollow candidate, and a tone-deaf message, they underestimated the people. And when style replaces substance, the result is exactly what we all witnessed, a brutal, avoidable defeat. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.